You're listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers.
Presented by CMH Heli Skiing and Peak Performance.
Mm-hmm.
All right, ready? Yeah.
I'm sorry, I botched that.
For what?
Cheers.
Cheers. What did you botch? You opened it, right?
Just I was delayed.
I don't care. I wasn't timing it. I just want to get into it.
Oh, I thought that was like a 3, 2, 1 drop sort of situation. Shit.
No. Do you mess those up too? I
No,
hope not,
absolutely
considering
not.
you're a filmer.
No, I have never missed a shot ever in my entire life, and nor will I at any point.
Like,
forward.
actually, for real?
Yeah.
Are you claiming it?
Yeah.
Like, you've never...
100%.
No, so, okay.
No, that is a blatant lie.
Okay, I was going to say... You're like, I need to make myself look good. I'm on a low-pressure podcast.
That is on the record.
Yeah, claiming it. Never blown a shot once ever. So we spent, like, the last hour just shooting the shit, and now that the... recorder is on, it's gonna get weird and we're gonna be like, okay, now what do we talk about?
Can't wait.
All right, so you introduced yourself.
Hi, I am Laura Obermeyer.
Excellent. And I'm Mark Warner. Nice to see you. I've been aware of you for a long time, and you said you've been in Whistler for like a month.
Yeah, like 3 weeks ish.
Yeah, and you just sent me a message the other day. You're like, hey, let's hang out. I'm
I'm
down.
Kind of spaced on the fact that you were in Whistler, and I was like on Spotify and had a little notification about podcasts, and I was like, oh,
that's good. It's funny because I didn't put one out this week.
Yeah, when I think of podcasts, I just, association.
I took a mental health break this week.
Good.
I decided to, Cedar Dog, get out of there. Hey, get out of there. Sorry, she tries to get in on, up. Okay, yeah, get up there. Yeah. Your new best friend.
Amazing.
She always likes to chew a bone partway through the episodes.
I do the same. We have that in common, actually.
You're a bone chewer?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you have a nickname? Her name is Cedar Bone Eater.
I don't have that nickname.
No, I hope not. No. So you're in Whistler.
Yeah.
You're here for 3 weeks, and you just reached out. Like I said, I didn't put an episode out last week, so were you just like finding random old episodes to go through?
Yeah, I don't know what made me think of it, actually. I was just like, oh, you know who lives here?
That's sweet.
Mark.
I'm stoked.
I should hit him up.
Yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could use a new episode. I know of this person. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And have beer and like hang out and new friends.
Hell yeah. Love it.
So what are you doing here?
I am filming powder that is non-existent.
That was the plan anyways?
That was the plan. That was the intention. I was actually going to fly into Calgary and have my friends meet me there, and we were going to film a street in Calgary.
Oh, cool. But it's been warm there too.
Yeah, there was no snow, so I was like, oh, everybody lives in Whistler. I'll fly in and out of van. That way we can just kind of play it by ear.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just never really snowed, so we
it didn't snow anywhere.
haven't been as productive as one would hope for this trip to be, but
Have you enjoyed your time here, though?
It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't gone to a hockey game yet, though.
No, you have to go to the city for that.
Yeah.
And you may be able to get. You're going in a couple nights, right?
Yeah.
You may be able to get because
I hope so.
They're on the road.
There's nothing more I want.
Then you go to a Canucks game,
Yeah.
like an NHL game.
Yeah, that'd be so fun.
You live in Colorado, right?
Yeah, but
always...
it's not Canada, you know.
That's fair, but most of them are Canadians anyways, and the Avalanche, they're doing really well this year. They're like the top of the league.
Yeah.
I saw a Canucks game in Denver.
Really?
Yeah. I rolled up in my Canucks jersey.
That's very on
And I
brand.
started, I was during SIA, and I started chirping like a true Canadian hockey fan. And we're up in the nosebleeds, and everyone around us was just laughing. I made friends with everybody there. They're like, "Oh my god, you're hilarious!"
That's awesome.
I think they won like barely, but everyone around me didn't think I was that obnoxious just because the shit I was saying was like ridiculous and funny that they hadn't heard before. Like full on like Canadian hockey chirps. It was
amazing.
Awesome. Like Letterkenny. I don't know if you ever seen that show Letterkenny.
No.
It's like a redneck rural hockey show. It's like set in rural Ontario.
Amazing.
Based around like redneck Canadians.
Yeah. No, that's definitely the culture I'm trying to tap into.
Yeah, I love it.
In the next 4 days.
Yeah, right. Well, maybe because they just finished a road trip. I'm a big hockey fan.
Yeah.
And they just finished a road trip and they're coming back. So you may be able to see a game.
Amazing.
You have to pay for it. They're expensive.
That's fine.
Yeah.
At any cost.
I dig it. Maybe I'll come down with you. Go to a Canucks game. And then there's full capacity in the stadiums again now.
Fun.
Yeah. They've changed the rules again. I kind of lost track.
Things are coming back slowly but surely.
Slowly. So you came up to try and ski or film some POW.
Yeah.
And there hasn't been any.
Yeah.
We had that one POW day like earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been doing with yourself? A lot of Netflix or?
lot of shoveling spots that aren't powder skiing by any means. We've hit a couple street spots, gotten a few urban skiing clips.
I love how you come to Whistler to film street.
You bet. We did a day at Grouse. We did a day at
sick.
Seymour. That was incredible.
Isn't it cool?
Seymour is so cool. Yeah, that was like. That reminded me a lot of Hood. Like
really?
May Pass at Hood, just like going up and building and then skiing down at sunset above the city. That was
Isn't
so
that cool?
magical.
You can see the whole
Yeah.
city. Were you there? And like you can see the sunset.
Yeah.
Like behind the Gulf Islands. So you're looking at the ocean and then the Gulf Islands. You see the sunset behind there.
Yeah.
And the whole city is to your left, and then it gets dark, and then the whole city lights up underneath you.
It was so magical.
Isn't it cool?
So cool. And like Grouse is also really sick. Their park is super rad. Like we were filming a little video there.
You get that classic shot where you like set up, so you get the guy in the air, and you get the city
bet.
laid up behind
You bet.
him.
Zero spin over Vancouver. You bet. Yeah, it was really fun. So that was a good day, and bopped around Vancouver for a day in the beginning. That was really fun.
You said you're a big city fan earlier.
I do like the city. Yeah, it's just fun.
So okay, so we were kind of touching on this when we were just having a beer.
Yeah.
At RMU there, and you're like, I like cities. I don't want to live in ski towns. I don't want to talk to people about skiing. I don't want to live with skiers. I don't want to. You're like, I don't really want anything to do with skiers. That's why I want to live in a big city. Like I don't know skiing roommates.
The Big Apple, baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just get tired of like the kind of conversation and culture that is totally enveloped everybody's brain in a ski town.
The bras.
Yeah, I'm not really into that.
And you're like mid-20s, right?
Yeah.
So that at that age, it's still kind of like the prevalent conversation, right?
Yeah, and like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of other social realms to tap into that aren't that, and like there's other things that I'm interested in that I'd rather talk about that there's not a lot of people in skiing that are interested in doing that. You know?
There are. You think you just have to find them.
For sure.
Right, but like I like how you kind of compartmentalize your life into like, all right, there's this. Is that kind of what you do? You think?
Maybe. I don't know. I try and balance everything that I enjoy.
Yeah.
And do so reasonably, and if that means splitting my time between places or spending, like, I don't know. I find it really enjoyable to like take a step back and like go somewhere for a short trip and not think about skiing at all, and if that's like a big buzzing city or something like that.
Yeah, you gotta refresh your brain, right?
Yeah.
That's why I do the podcast only like 6 months.
Yeah.
25 episodes
Totally.
or whatever it is. And I originally started it because I was like, all right, I want to do it kind of like how ski mag. I just kind of tried to model it after how a ski magazine works. Because no one had ever done it before. And I'm like, I love not doing it in the summertime.
Yeah.
I'll put out an episode here and there just to let people know I'm still around.
Yeah.
But it's so nice to turn my brain off. Like, listen to some of the other podcasts, and I'm not calling them out, but like, I don't know if I would want to do it all year round.
Yeah. Yeah. And there, I mean, skiing and like my attraction to it comes in ebbs and flows, I think. And for me to not get burnt out, because it is my livelihood as well.
Right.
For me to not get burnt out and still enjoy it recreationally, I have to really be careful about where I spend my time and where I put my energy.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because like, and okay, I have to ask you about this. You have a very famous skiing name, Obermeyer.
Yes, I do.
Right? Is it your grandfather? Is it your great-grandfather?
Yeah, my grandfather started it.
Klaus Obermeyer.
Yes.
Right? He's like is he 100-something now?
He turned 102 last December.
Dude, that guy is just crushing. Every time I go to SIA, he'd have that booth right at the entrance, and he'd always be sitting there with the biggest smile on his face, talking to everybody. Like, that is super cool.
He's
like,
so special.
So, I'm not super familiar with, like, the Obermeyer brand, because they're always kind of, like, they weren't within my realm as a skier when I came up. I think they're more of, like, middle-aged, kind of older, kind of folk ski gear kind of thing. Is that is that a fair assessment?
I don't know. Maybe to some degree. I think it's very relevant in a lot of different areas, like children's ski clothing, especially. You see a lot of that even here. I think that our presence in the States is potentially stronger than it is here. So
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, that could also affect your
So
perception of it.
so you're born into this like ski outerwear empire. Is it like a family? Is it still a family business?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
all owned by the Obermeyer clan?
Yeah. So Klaus is still in the office.
Is he really? He's
Yeah.
102 years old.
Signing off on things, like making sure everything's running well.
For real.
Yeah, totally keen on being fully involved with the brand still, which is amazing.
So is it like parents and cousins, and is it like
No.
who's involved?
So it's Klaus and Nomi, who are the two like original owners and founders, and then my so it's on my dad's side, and so I have aunts and uncles that have been involved at different capacities over the years.
Yeah.
And now it is my uncle Klaus Jr. and
Yeah.
I who have really stepped in, and we're very, very involved with it.
And you are?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because you don't make it seem like you are.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's
Well, I appreciate that. I like to think that I have like my own island within skiing.
Well, I had no
separate of
idea.
that.
I figured oh, you just got the name and
Yeah.
that's like a link. But under nothing I've seen made me realize that you are actually part of it.
Yeah.
And obviously that's maybe probably by design on your half. Like you said, you like to keep things separate.
Yeah.
So what do you do with the company?
I do a lot of brand creative work. So like the marketing end of things
Like
is
design,
where I
like,
can
yeah.
insert myself, and like I've taken on a lot of different roles over the last few years. When I first moved back to Colorado after high school, I was doing archive work for them, and I'm still plugging away at that.
So like taking stuff from like the 70s, like ads and things like that, or what does
I
that mean?
effectively have an entire tangible timeline of American ski history from 1947 until 1990.
Cool.
And then on, because I mean it's still kicking. So
Are you guys gonna write a book?
yeah, there's a lot of thoughts and plans on books and documentaries and like how we're going to utilize all these assets. But it's been really cool for me, because I'm already so passionate about skiing, to like have this vessel of education that's not like, I'm not as well versed on skiing in the way that somebody who's been on New Schoolers since its inception has.
Right.
But I know a lot about the 60s, the 70s, these little areas that came and went. Like,
Right.
I have a lot of knowledge, especially within clothing too. Like, it's really nice to know that I'm educated on the sport.
Yeah.
And that way I can use that to elevate my current position to whatever degree I like.
That's cool, but
Yeah.
right now you're just kind of like, I'm just doing my own thing, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like you're just, from what I can see, like I said, I had no idea. You're just paving your own way.
Yeah, but drawing inspiration from that is, I guess that's a better way to put it than elevate a
Yeah.
position. I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, totally drawing inspiration from
But still take
what
advantage, right?
what I think, yeah, totally taking advantage of it, but like what I see as kind of untapped resources, like it's
Could be
unbelievable.
like style influences, right? Everything's
Yeah.
cyclical, right?
Yeah,
You're like,
or
look at this
when
jacket
people
we
think
had
it's
in
an
the
invention, yeah,
look at this jacket we had in the 60s. This is
Yeah.
dope, man. Kids would go crazy for this now, and
Yeah.
kind of repurpose it into something new. But also like you said, like looking through the archives and like chronicling that as something moving forward. So so you're a filmmaker too. We didn't even get to that. Like you're here shooting POW segment.
Yeah.
We ended up shooting an urban segment, the mean streets of Whistler Blackcomb. So what are you shooting for? What's the project you're here for?
the current project is called In Your Dreams.
Ooh, and that's like you'll ski POW and Whistler in your dreams.
Maybe.
Sorry, too soon.
It's currently in my dreams. Yeah.
It's been so bad. I feel so bad. I know.
It's okay. It is like I that's totally part of the creative world, and the creative process is dealing with what comes out your way, and if that's no snow, then that's no snow. You have to be flexible and still maintain your vision, I think. So
You're not the only crew that got snake bit here
totally
this year.
Yeah, I've heard
I know
horror stories.
I know
unfortunately.
TGR, like Todd Jones and Kai were up here right after it stopped, like the day it got warm, and they bailed. I know some MSP crew was here, and then they took off. And
Yeah.
like handfuls of others.
Yeah, a lot of people have bailed, but not me.
No. So what have you been doing for the whole time? Like you said, you were up on the mountain building the jump today.
Yeah, filming like little bits of just kind of free ride sort of stuff on the mountain.
A lot of park stuff.
No, like park segments. Like I said, we filmed a little bit of park stuff at Grouse, but that's for like a different video that I'm making for my friend dance company Arsenic. So that's exciting.
All right, so tell me more about this In Your Dreams film.
Yeah.
Is it like your film company? Is it your movie? Like, what's the whole? Give me all the details. Lay it out. Lay it out on the table here.
It's
for
a
me.
lot.
We got time.
So I made a movie a few years ago called Jose, and
Yes.
that was an all-female production from the back end to the front end.
And you went to Japan with that too,
we
right?
did
Yeah,
go to
I saw
Japan.
that movie.
So we spent a month in Japan filming, like effectively 3 weeks, really, 2.5 of which were street, and 5 or so days of which was pout skiing. And that was my first time filming, really. I hadn't really made park edits or anything like that before that. That was like total jump off the deep end thing.
You gotta learn by doing it, right?
Yeah. 8 girls, all of us in Japan, main island. We traveled around, did our thing, came back. I edited, did everything myself, learned from a few peers who were willing to give me feedback along the way.
Right.
And then had a really successful premiere tour, had really successful feedback from the industry, got some amazing notes from like younger girls and really cool DMs and that sort of thing. So like our goal was to inspire other women and just inspire girls, and like especially the younger generation coming up, like, go make a movie. You can just go do it. Like, you don't need a crew. I mean, it's similar to The Uninvited in that way, I think.
I love how you said the younger generation, but you probably filmed that when you're 22 years old?
I was 19 when we started
so
that.
you were the younger generation.
Yeah.
Like, you're right. Did you have like, I know before that, thinking of, you know, females who started their own project, I could really only think of maybe like Lindsay Dyer with like her stuff. Like, are there other people that
There's
kind of
a lot
inspired
of
you?
free ride. I had nobody that I was looking up to for women's content.
You're just
not
like
a single person, because I don't, and I mean this as no disrespect to the women doing it and to free ride in general, but that's just not what I was watching and not what I was really finding inspiration in. Like, I was really stoked on, and it wasn't that I was fixating on gender by any means, but like the movies that were inspiring me were the really aesthetically driven ones. So like, I really liked Level 1 films. I really liked Sweetgrass Productions and like
Sherpas and stuff.
Yeah, stuff like that. That was what was.
Did you see Phil Casabon's movie this year?
Yeah.
Isn't that rad?
So sick.
Like, speaking of like camera angles and like effects and things like that, like, it's really, I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately. I'm sorry Phil, but
yeah, so I really like have always been driven to the art side of ski filmmaking, and Jose was just like the first opportunity that I was given to have a platform for it. And anyway, following the success of that, we're like, okay, let's like keep the momentum going. Let's make another one that's like another all women project, and that means like everything on the production side, filming, editing, sound builds, like direction, has to be female. And because I'm doing most of that, it still falls under that, but it's like
you're fulfilling that criteria
a lot
because you're
of
doing
those,
it yourself.
a lot of those are falling on my plate, which is totally fine. I love creative directions so much, but anyway, we started filming March 2020.
Of course you did.
Yeah. got a few days at Powder Mountain in Utah. It was really fun, and then things happened the way they happened.
2-year project.
It was then like, okay, it's gonna be a 2-year project, and then borders were still closed. I was trying to be really diligent about not overstepping boundaries with COVID safety, and still try to be for the most part, and like try and just be smart about things.
Right.
A lot of the girls that I was trying to shoot with were over closed borders, and the girls that weren't were either working or doing X Games Real Ski. Shout out Taylor. So proud of her for that. That was so sick.
Right. Killed it.
She had that opportunity.
Killed it.
Yeah, so then last season wasn't as fruitful as we had hoped, and then in the fall I was talking to the guys at Level 1 and Connor Smith, who's a producer there, and Berman, who is just the best. Thank you guys so much for this. And Level 1 was like, yeah, let's help you get over the finish line, and they're now producing it, so it's a Level 1 flick.
So do they have to wear like a wig or something like that.
No, they're not. They're not like doing the work to it. They've just like really helped with.
They're help with the back end, like
sending emails
the
that
business
have
part,
that have the level 1 name on them
Right.
to sponsors to get money, and
Right,
like that has been so huge. And it's also just like given me such a huge source of inspiration and motivation to get it done, because that's like the childhood dream.
Were
right?
you? Were you? No, let me ask you this too. Like so. And we were like, we don't need to talk about this because it's talked about to death, but we will a little bit. Like, so I had Elizabeth Garrettson on a couple weeks ago, Free Ride World Tour champion from last year, and she's working on an all-female project as well, back end, front end, pretty much the same. And she's like, if you know anybody, hit me up, so I'll get you guys in touch. But knowing that this is kind of your goal, having to kind of, I know level 1 guys, it's level 1, the name speaks for itself. We don't have to explain who they are or why they're good at what they do.
Yeah.
Was that something that you're like stoked on? Okay, cool, these guys are going to help me. Or
Absolutely.
was there a moment where you're like, oh, this doesn't really go with that box that I put myself in?
No second thought on that whatsoever.
Yeah, good
it's
call.
like,
yeah.
And I also, like, I really have a hard time fixating on the gender stuff because, like, to me, I'm just trying to execute a vision, create representation, and if it requires having the skill and power of people who identify one way or another to do so, then that doesn't matter so much to me.
Right.
Like,
It's just the best person for the job, right? Like, you can choose who you want to be in front of the camera, who you want to be behind the camera, but in order to be able to get to a position like the guys in level 1, maybe you need a little mentorship, right? Like, they've done it, they've been there. So yeah, I'm gonna utilize you. Teach me everything that you know.
I'm still the one editing it.
Right.
Like, I have, like, all of the graphics are being done by somebody who's female. Like, sound design is being done by somebody who is non-gender conforming. Like, there are so many different elements of this that have nothing to do with gender for me, that are just like, this is a really talented person that is underrepresented in our industry. Let's give them a platform. And I want their skills in this. Level 1's involvement is just cool. At the end of the day, like,
yeah.
I
They
don't know.
kind of need something to do now, I guess, right?
Yeah.
I'm just teasing, boys. I know you got projects, but there's none of those yearly movies anymore.
How sick is it though that they're like supporting smaller scale projects the way that they are? Like,
right?
Are you kidding me? I think that's so great.
It is awesome. Those guys are the best.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Is it exhausting to have these conversations about this?
I wouldn't say exhausting. I would just say that I fear sounding like a broken record player sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's really important to have these conversations. And especially regarding like women skiing, I feel like oftentimes people who are interviewing me, or like even if it is just a bar conversation or something, they see that as being my identity, is this advocacy for women skiing, and like that sort of, I don't want to say pigeonhole, but like that that kind of being boxed into that. And
you're an artist, you're a filmmaker.
Yeah, I do a lot of other stuff.
You're a creative. You're
also, like,
you're working for a ski industry. You don't necessarily want to be labeled as the feminist.
Yeah, and I also just like I don't know. Gender's a whole can of worms in itself too. Like, exactly that. I'm so many other things. Like, it really bothers me to be labeled in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, right.
But I also, like I said, I think it's really important to be opening up those sort of spaces and having those conversations, because the more I do it, the more I realize how few people are having those conversations on the regular. Like, I don't know, getting stoked on some underground girl's Instagram video is something that like a friend of mine and I would have any given day, but there's the majority of the outdoor industry that doesn't have that kind of thought process with this stuff.
Right.
And I mean, that circles back on like the whole concept of, like I was referencing, the uninvited, or just, you know, crews that don't invite women to go film. Like, you have to carve out that space for yourself. And even if that small is like a conversation, then that's what it is.
Right. And I hate now that, I'm sure it's happened where people are like, okay, we need to, you know, the tokenism. oh, we got to get a girl in here. Like I talked to the MSP movie a couple of years ago when there were no girls in the movie and everyone lost their minds. Well, there was no one available and people chose to ride for people hurt themselves, people weren't allowed to, and like everyone started giving Scott Gaffney shit. But the year before it was tons of women. It's like, I don't think really anybody in our industry chooses to or not to. Like nowadays are like, yeah, we want the best people in it and we're gonna have a nice balance of representation. And I think it's just kind of getting to the point now where people are just going rabble, where it's like, oh, you need to do this or you need to do that. It's like to a point where it's hyper inflated to the point of discussion where every little decision or
also just bums me out that we need to be like having that conversation.
Yeah, and like every little decision or non-decision is under the microscope and people are going to give their opinion on it when really it's just like, dude, there's just a reason for it. Yeah. Quit making something up or trying to like make it an issue. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I
think it's important to be supportive of progress in any light, and that goes for the tokenism concept in itself as well. Like, I agree with that though. That,
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about the movie. That's cool. No, I know what you mean. You're like, that's why I asked. That's why I asked you.
That's totally fine.
That's why I asked if you're exhausted by it, because like sometimes you're just like, oh man, sometimes I don't even know what I want to say, and it's like, well, why do I have to say it? Well, you don't have to.
Yeah. Right? It just feels cyclical sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's gotten to a point where people are like, well, why not this and why not that, and look at them, and like we're rallying for this, we're rallying for that. I'm like, well, there's a reason for everything. Yeah. People don't do stuff thinking, oh, you know what I mean? Like it's, people don't have a movie full of dudes. It's because they want to have a movie full of dudes. It's because it's systemic. It's how it works out. Obviously people want to rally against that, but it's not like I'm not choosing not to have females in my movie. But like you said, it's that cyclical thing where it's like, well,
it's important to hold people accountable.
Yeah. This happens because of this or that happens because of that. Well, no, things just happen. Yeah. Right. So moving on. That's funny. I wasn't even. It's when we were talking at the bar earlier. I'm like, I'm not going to bring that up. It always evolves into it, but it is important to have that conversation.
Yeah, and that is like, I can't deny that is like a huge part of my work and what I care about. So yeah, should absolutely be.
So who are some of these excellent human beings that are in your movie?
Shout out Sky Clark. Sky Clark has been hosting me for the entire time that I've been here in Whistler.
Is she Whistlerite?
Yep. Yeah, grew up here. Sky won the women's category for level 1 super unknown this last round. Sick. Yeah, she's so
she lives in town? I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to meet her.
Yeah, she's so rad. So we have Sky, we've got McKenna Brown, who's a Salt Lake skier, we've got Zoe Blewett, who's also Canadian, Shonda Charbonneau, aka Kat Agnew. We've got a lot of people that I'm kind of blanking on right now. Anna Tedesco, Rihanna Borderick, Kellen Wilson is hopefully going to join up with us pretty soon. Just a lot of amateur skiers that are really sick and absolutely crushing it and deserve to be shown to the world.
That's awesome. There's I don't know if I have it down here or not. There's the bunch of like Dendrite, the movie that they did, like a Numinous, Kai's movie, Numinous, and they've done a bunch of other stuff. They did a movie called oh crap, I had it in my head, it just disappeared. But it was all the dudes in town. Like Whistler has tons and tons of amazing skiers. There's a bunch of dudes in town that were kind of like no one really knew, and they just highlighted them all. Same sort of thing that I think you're describing, which I think is super rad. And the movie's great. Yeah. And it's great for someone like you to be able to like, oh, you know what? These people need to be known other than just whoever follows them on Instagram. Let's give them a platform. Let's give them let's give them some screen time. Yeah. Yeah. Which is sick.
There's also like, we're having a Euro segment put together from Rosina Friedel and Alice Michel, who are in Austria and Switzerland.
Oh, no way.
They're also really sick. Rosina was the first super unknown female finalist, so she was kind of the catalyst for like that timeline, which is really sick. Taylor's got a few shots that'll be in it, and
friend of the LPP.
Yeah, a few like, I'm totally blanking. Like, this project has just been so drawn out that it's like hard to list everybody off the top of my head.
I did put you on the spot though. I don't think they'll be upset. They won't be upset.
Yeah, but just a ton of really rad people who are very
So
fun to work with.
so looking through, doing my extensive research, I was scrolling through Instagram while I was walking my dog today before she chased a coyote away, and I forgot what I was doing. There's a theme. It's 2 themes that I noticed on your Instagram page. It's art, cowboys.
Often put together, yeah.
Right? So you grew up, so from what I know, you lived in Aspen, or you currently live in Aspen?
I currently live in Aspen. My
Right.
dad grew up there.
Uh-huh.
I did not live there until I was 18.
Okay, where did you grow up?
I grew up in between, like back and forth between the Front Range of Colorado, dangerously close to Wyoming, as I say, and
Dangerously.
and Connecticut. My mom lives in very rural
I was
Connecticut.
going to say, so I know where the cowboy part came in.
Yeah. So I grew up on a farm and was a horse girl.
Did you hear the episode I did with Ryan?
No.
So I did an episode with Ryan Zetzer earlier this year in Montana. And I was like, are you a horse girl? She's like, yeah, fully horse girl. We were talking about her horses.
Yeah.
She had this one horse that like landed on her and broke her leg and stuff.
Jesus.
And I asked her if they sent it off to the glue factory. And then like, she was talking about like wanting to do a ski joring film
Oh
clip.
my god, I would love to go
Right,
ski
you guys
joring.
need to talk. Do you know Ryan?
No, I don't.
Oh yeah, so she's
love to link.
She's based out of Salt Lake.
Sick.
You guys need to have a chat for sure.
Hell yeah.
They think they're kind of on the same program. I think they're doing a film called the Braids film. I think there's like a couple all female.
Yeah,
crews
it's sick.
rolling
There's
right
a
now.
lot more popping up.
Yeah, it's super cool.
I'm so hyped.
Make
about
sure
it.
you come to IF3 this year.
Yeah, I'll do my best.
It's gonna be in October. It's gonna be here.
Yeah.
We're gonna be organizing it again, and we have the IF3 all girls night again too,
Yeah.
where it's gonna be all female
Sick.
centered movies. It's like one of the best nights of the whole week.
Yeah,
So
love it.
We'll keep you in touch with that once this
Yeah.
movie's done. So
I gotta make it
you
first.
gotta get it finished, right? You're gonna get that
Pressure's on.
You're gonna get that Miracle March. You're gonna get
Yeah.
tons of POW clips. You're gonna get lots of other good
It's gonna
clips.
be great. It's gonna be fine.
But yeah, so you're another horse girl on the LPP. We always have these themes that emerge. I always talk about themes that
I
emerge.
reluctantly use that title though.
Horse girl. Did you have horses growing up?
Mm-hmm.
Were they like work horses, or did you have your own horse?
My mom, both my parents are grew up with horses and love horses, and are both riders, and so it was
In Connecticut and in
Colorado.
you had horses in both places.
Yeah. Yeah. So I had my own horse that I was showing a lot, and like I used to do hunter jumpers, and like I didn't show the Western style and like do rodeo stuff that much. I used to do like
What does show mean? Like, does that mean like
horse shows, competitions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that very competitively through high school, and unfortunately lost my horse right before I graduated.
Oh no. Where did just went for a walk? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Horse passed away.
Yeah.
Did it break a leg or something? Was it something tragic like that? Or?
Yeah, he had a degenerative ligament tear in his hind legs. So it was pretty horrible.
Devastating.
Yeah, very heartbreaking. But ended up being, I don't want to say good timing, but it was like good timing for me to set it aside, move back to Colorado, like focus on skiing, start working.
Oh, you were doing all that in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
I would have thought you had done it out in.
No, my family still has horses in Colorado too, but they're not that's not something that I'm doing. Yeah, but like when I was in middle school and high school, when I was going out to Colorado for the summers, I'd like do rodeos for shits and giggles.
Did you ever do like the barrel
Yeah.
races? That's so badass.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I like going fast on skis and horses, so it worked out well. Yeah, and then
Ski joring video.
I want to do ski joring so bad.
I want to produce it. I want to help.
Put me in, coach.
I want to help in any way I can. The Low Pressure Podcast presents.
Yeah.
Horse
It'd be so fun.
We'll call it Horse Girls.
Yeah. But yeah, so that like is where the equestrian art inspiration comes from.
This is
really.
part of your life for a long time, right?
Yeah, and it's just like a really core part of my identity, and like I feel like I spend a lot of time denying that just because of the stigma around like horse girls and the memes about it and shit.
I only know horse girls just for the name horse
Yeah.
girls. I don't know really
So
any.
bad.
I don't know really know anything else behind it. Like,
Yeah.
what's the stigma about a horse girl?
I don't know.
Explain it to me and let's change it.
I don't even want to get into it. I just like don't care that much. But it's something that I really enjoy, and like I mean it goes for all animals. Like I just love animals too.
I can tell.
Yeah. So yeah, Cedar and I are boys.
Yeah, already.
Yeah. So
you were.
that's where that came from.
So did you spend most of your teenage years like growing up in Connecticut?
yeah, I'd spend the school like anytime I was in school, I was in Connecticut
Mm-hmm.
with my mom, and then any vacation I got, I would go back to Colorado.
And then you kind of go back to visit your dad. Did your parents split up when you were? Like,
Yeah,
quite
my parents
young?
split when I was 7, so I lived in Colorado until I was 7, and then moved to Connecticut. I was back and forth,
that was
and my
kind-
siblings were still in Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are they older than you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that kind of tough for you to like go back and forth?
Absolutely, yeah. But I wouldn't change how I grew up that much.
Because you are who you
Yeah.
are based on your experiences, right?
Yeah.
How did the skiing come into everything?
My dad.
Well, that's a stupid question. Let me back up a little bit. Obermeyer, what a stupid question. All right, so where
actually never skied in my life.
I haven't
I'm
even
a
had that
poser.
many beers. What a dumbass question. Ask Laura Obermeyer where the skiing came in. So let me ask you this. Maybe the question I should have asked is like, where were you be able to get that skiing in like Connecticut? Like obviously your dad is the Obermeyer side.
Yeah,
where your
my dad
mom...
was an instructor for a long time. He taught us how to ski when we were living in Colorado, and we would go to A Basin or Eldora, like anywhere off the Front Range, really. So I learned how to ski at A Basin and Eldora and Winter Park. But it wasn't until I moved to Connecticut that I really fell in love with skiing, because where we lived was 6 minutes away from the local ski hill, which is Ski Sundown. Huge shout out Ski Sundown. Our family's farm, like the property was the backside of the mountain.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So, like, ski in, ski out?
Kinda. A lot of bushwhacking, but yeah.
Ski out? Do you ever go with like a machete or something? Just make
Oh
a
yeah.
yeah.
I spent so much time in the woods growing up. I had like, in hindsight, it was very good and also very loose. Yeah. So I like really fell in love with skiing when I was like 11 or 12 and was going every day after school and doing ski bus and stuff. And then
when you go out to Colorado, you'd be like, yeah, big mountains, and then you go back home.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I started instructing when I was 14 or 15 and tried to just like insert myself into any job position that I could at the hill, and like worked in the ski shop, got to hop in the groomers with them, and like got to play park crew whenever I was like, hey, can I just do this? And it was so great. Like I got really lucky with it and made a lot of really good connections there. But yeah, just like totally fell in love with the culture when I was like 15, started really getting into park.
And you think that was kind of just on your own, and because you were in Connecticut and you were like I said, back to the Obermeyer name, right? It's synonymous with skiing, right? But being that you're out in Connecticut, kind of a little separated.
Yeah, it was totally
from
separated from that. It was
you're
really,
able to do it for yourself.
Yeah, and Tell a Friend tour came, which is Andy Parry's grassroots ski tour. That was my first like true exposure to free skiing, which is really cool because now I'm like doing that with them, taking photos and kind of participating in it. And yeah, started watching Line Traveling Circus episodes, started hanging out with the park boys, started hitting rails, doing my thing, lacing K-feds, then blew my knee really badly, then got knee surgery, then stopped skiing park a lot. And yeah, I wasn't ever trying to like be a good skier by any means. Like I wasn't interested in being a pro or anything like that, or like getting really good at it. I was just like, oh, this is really cool, and I just want to like be involved.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's how most people do it. Like,
yeah,
that's why I'm doing this.
Yeah, exactly. Like you always find a.
I just want to be involved. That's the best way I think anybody's been able to explain it. That perfect. I just wanted to be involved.
Yeah.
That's like I lived in a ski town forever, and I'm like watching and observing, and I'm like, it feels like this is my culture, but I don't feel like I'm a part of it. Like I always felt like I was missing out on something, or like I was wanting to be involved. That's the perfect way of putting it. Just want to be involved.
Yeah. That's
awesome. And then because you have an artist's aesthetic or lifestyle or personality or just you're an artist.
Yeah.
Just looking at your website, you're an artist. Whether it's visual, like film, photos, like drawing, painting.
Yeah,
that
I
sort
like
of thing,
making things.
right? And then I think that's where you found your spot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Did you have a moment where you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this?
Not any pivotal moment. I would say like ages 16, 17 when I was starting to like take photo work more seriously. And
did you like photos in school and stuff, like photo class?
No, I actually helped teach it when I was in middle school. I was teaching the high schoolers.
All right, how did you get into the so when I ask you like what when say aside from like you have so many hats, this is amazing.
Yeah.
So if someone says if you have to distill it down to one side of like production, ski production, would you be a filmer? Would you be filmmaker? Would you be a photographer?
I would say still photography is my main trade with skiing. And that's definitely my comfort zone, which is why it's really fun to do filmmaking and why it's really fun to do graphic design or like illustrative art or like whatever these other jobs are that I'm getting hired for. It's really nice to have that balance of creative work because I like working in different mediums for sure. But
so how did you get into photography to the point where in high school you're teaching it?
And
are you free this week to give me some?
Yeah, for sure.
I need a class.
For sure. Yeah. Let us borrow your sled and you got it.
Oh yeah. All right. We'll talk.
Yeah. I mean, I come from a really creative family and my dad was a hobbyist photographer. My sister did photography in high school. So I always looked up to that and like had access to cameras basically in our household, which was really what did it, and would take them to the horse shows or would take it to the ski hill and like shoot what I was doing. And then I befriended a local photographer when I was around 15 or 16 who used to shoot for free people and do like these really cool editorial and fashion sort of things in addition to shooting like senior portraits and family stuff. So I started going out with her a lot. She would shoot photos of me a lot and like got into that sort of relationship of what it looks like as a career. And then started pursuing it in that light and shot senior portraits, shot events, that sort of thing.
And it's cool because you can like take the photos and then be like, well, this is what I used for this and this is why. And you can like discuss the process and the light and like having a mentor or a partner where you can like discuss that. That's what you learn so much faster.
Yeah, and also just being shown that that's something that you can do for a job is really important at that age, I think.
Right. Did you go to school after high school?
No,
just working and figuring things out.
Got the education of the ski industry.
Yeah, right. Well, the
I read a lot though.
I went to the University of Whistler. Well, it doesn't matter if you go to university or not. It just matter whether you like to learn.
Yeah.
Right. Like it seems like you're always learning. You're the type of person that just absorbs.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Absolutely. I love it. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that going to university would have been pivotal in my path by any means. Like I'm already doing what I wanted to be doing.
Right.
Like continue to land dream jobs and do the things that I really like to do. I mean, there's definitely aspects of my life that I'm like, oh, it'd be really nice to like have formal education in this, like design, for example. But then I'm able to find people who are willing to mentor me or educate me who are absolutely skilled in that area. Mm-hmm. So I'm able to source out education. And I don't think that education in itself should be synonymous with like conventional schooling.
Right.
So I would say that I did pursue education, but not in a
well, absolutely.
normal way.
I agree with you 100%. Like I have a stack of books in there that I'm doing my best to read. You know how it is, but I've always been interested in what can I do learning with this? How do I learn with that? Mm-hmm. And I find like you brought up mentors. Has it been fairly simple? Simple might be the wrong word, but have mentors come to you easily? Are you able to are you the kind of person that's able to be like, hey, can you help me? Or, yeah, absolutely. Because I just befriend people pretty easily. Right. I find I find personally myself I have trouble with that. I think because I'm a little older, white male in his 40s now. So when I ask someone, hey, looking for someone like a mentor, like there's so many things, like I'm in the same boat, right? Like video editing, graphic design, like something will happen and I need to do some sort of image change. I'm like, oh, how do I do this? Do you know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
little simple things like that a lot of people take it for granted or they learn in school. I'm like half a generation or generation ahead where it's like, oh, I need to learn these things.
Yeah.
Even stuff within like the ski industry and business. It's like, well, I need some help.
Yeah.
And
But I feel like being conscious of that in the first place is really important.
Right.
And just your need to ask questions.
Right.
Like being aware that that's something that you need to
Right.
do in
I'm
order to progress
a
is
perfectionist. I
important.
don't know. I think
Yeah.
you're kind of the person that wants things to be a certain way.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I can sense that. I can sense that in you.
Yeah.
As I have very, 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 very high standards of myself.
Yeah.
And when I can't meet that expected standard because of a lack of knowledge or experience or information
Yeah.
regarding something that needs to get me to that next step is the most frustrating thing in my life, I think. And that's where I need to find those links, those mentors to fill that gap or that link, right?
I understand that. I've definitely gotten better about that, but like I think that part of the reason I didn't do any filming prior to like making Jose or making this project is that I was like, oh, I don't have the tools or resources I need to do exactly what my vision is.
And that's the thing, right? It's
if you can't execute exactly what you want with what you have, it's really challenging to start.
Right? Exactly. Like I'm the same way. It's like I want it to be this way.
Yeah.
Most people just say you have to start and you have to make mistakes in order to learn.
There's never a perfect time to do anything.
But I don't want to make the mistakes. I want it to be how I want it now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I won't do something because I know that I don't have the capacity to be able to make it exactly how I want it. I don't want to do something half-assed. The way my vision is, I don't want to half-ass my vision. So things don't get done because there's that little bit of a knowledge gap that I don't have in order to get to where I want to be.
Yeah.
And that's my biggest frustration, personally.
But I mean, that also goes back to what I was saying earlier of just like the desire to be completely inflexible on your vision, but also having to adapt to whatever things come your way.
Yeah.
Like it's, yeah.
Right.
I congratulate people who deal with it, but I'm also very sorry to them.
Yeah. It's funny because like when you have to adapt, right? Like what you're doing right now. Like, no, I'm in Whistler for almost a month. Oh, great. We're gonna do it, but let's do an urban segment in Whistler. We'll adapt. But it's funny because while I'm in the middle of something, knowing if I know that I can get from A to B, cool, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But if something happens in between, easy to adapt, no problem. But if going to A and B, there's that gap, like I said, that I don't know, I won't even start it sometimes because I need to figure out how to get that gap filled before I start, rather than figure it out along the way. But if I know that gap can be filled and then something goes sideways, then it's like, oh yeah, no problem, we'll just pivot. Yeah. Which is that weird kind of
I also find that there's a degree of, and I mean, I'm just talking about creative processes in general, that like what we're talking about here is very specific visions. I think that the desire to create can be stifled by fixating on those visions when you have all of these different, like it's just such a natural thing to want to make things, and it's important to make bad art in addition to these like really strong perfectionist visions. So it's important to just like sit and doodle, but at the same time be working on like a 6 months illustrative project,
right?
You know, like
to balance it out.
Yeah. And you can kind of I don't know, like alleviate that stress of making bad art by just making bad art that's not necessarily affecting what your plan A is. True.
You know? And then to counter that, like from my point of view, bad art, so everything I do is released. It's for consumption, for people to see. It's to build a business, right? So for me to do a little doodle and put out some sort of a doodle or something that's subpar, and then release that as like official content, that's where I'm like, no, I won't do it. Yeah. Right?
Do you ever make things to not be released?
No.
You should.
That's interesting.
Start a middle of the night radio hour.
Oh yeah, we were talking about that. Yeah. On your website. You should go to your website. What's your website? People can go check it out.
worldwideweb.lauraobermeyer.space. That's www.lauraobermeyer.space.
Just Google Laura Obermeyer, you find it. But you have this like radio station that's on there, and I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
We were talking about that. So explain that to me, because I might have to start doing this.
I broadcast into the void for an hour at a time and play whatever songs are stuck in my head, talk about whatever I want.
So it's just like an internet radio station.
Yeah, and it's really cool. That platform that I use is called Mixler, and you can have chat forums in it. And so, like, people who make an account can get notified whenever you turn it on. So, like, there's certain people that tune in every time that I have never met. Yeah. And I don't like to announce when I'm doing it very much, because it's just fun to, like, not have any pressure or not think that, like, anybody I know is listening.
Right.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Because you told me that earlier, and I'm like, that's exciting to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you ought to do something like that.
Because we were talking about music and, like, how we consume music.
Yeah.
And I was telling you that, like, I listen to albums.
Mm-hmm.
I don't listen to, like, tracks. I'm from the age of, like, you buy go to the store. I have enough money for 2 CDs.
Mm-hmm.
Go downtown. You buy 2 CDs, and I have them for the next 3 months. I listen to my Walkman. It's over and over and over, and they've got to be listened from front to back until I have the money and the time to go downtown and get another 2 CDs. Right. So I've always been that, like, album guy.
That's your format.
But hundreds and hundreds of albums. Like, I put them all on my phone. I have like 9,000, 10,000 songs, right? And themes appear. So I'm like, one day I was listening on random, like 12 songs came in a row, and they were all Swedish bands. And I'm like, oh, sweet, that'd be cool to do on, like, Midsummer or something like that. Do like a Swedish, like, show, or like all these little mini themes. And I'm like, if I was on the radio, I would do these.
You have the equipment. I think you should.
Yeah,
do it.
right. So I think
I do not have the equipment, and I'm definitely doing it.
I think the universe just manifested, because I've been thinking about it. Because I have friends that had a radio show in town here in Worcester. There's 2 radio stations, and then they play whatever they want. Vinyl Richie and DJ Vinyl Richie and DJ Foxy Moron. Ace McKay Smith is like a legendary ski figure from back in the day. But they have their own show. And they just play whatever they want. They're like, yeah, you should come on the show. I'm like, absolutely. Because every time I'd see them, we'd sit and talk about music. So now this is like maybe an opportunity for me to go and tap into all you LP people, the LP peeps. If you want to tune into me, listen to some heavy music and some melodic music, and just have me bullshit about stuff, I'm gonna do it. I'm excited. Thank you.
that can be your shitty doodle.
Yeah,
right? I was just using that as an example. But
I love that. It'll be my shitty doodle
for, like, it just, you know,
something for fun for me, like something like I love doing this. Yeah, but it'll be for me. Yeah, because it's fun rather than like this is not that this isn't for me, but like this is for the podcast.
You can just tell me, man. It's fine.
I hate this podcast so much. I'm so tied to it. It's my job. You jerks. Thanks for listening, jerks. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I like it, but it's a job. Yeah. Right? You know, when people are like, oh, I'm a skier, but it's work. Yeah. And then they talk about going fishing or something, and it's like, oh, I have no obligations for this. I can just sit and enjoy being a fisherman.
Yeah. I think, too, something that I have found is doing the things that you enjoy. In my case, and I've been so fortunate with this, is publishing, like, my art is a really good example. I don't publish a lot of my art, but when I started publishing my stuff, and when I started publishing, like, the cowboy art, for example, and the Western stuff, that's what was coming to me. And I was getting jobs to do, like, illustrations for hotels, or, like, working through different design houses to, like, do cowboy art. TGR and I are doing a huge project that's, like, all cowboy stuff.
No way.
Yeah. And that's, like, total dream job.
Is it like a film project?
Big multifaceted thing. So
cool. When's that out?
Hopefully this fall.
Ooh, come by F3.
Yeah, we were going to do it last fall, and then
COVID.
Things just, like, got pushed out, and I am also a perfectionist in anything that I put out that has my name on it. Right. And I wanted it to feel fully realized and fully authentic. And
are you allowed to talk about it much?
Yeah, I hope so.
No, like right now.
Sorry, Brian, if I'm not. They reached out to me last June, so June 21, and we're like, yeah, we want you to, like, help us do a capsule collection of clothing. Let's do a collab. And I was like, sick, let's do it. I have been using photo references from 1970s rodeo encyclopedias. Can I come shoot at the Jackson Rodeo or something to, like, get other photo references that are my own? And they were like, yeah, for sure, we'll get you up here. So I went up to Jackson, like spent a ton of time up there last summer, just hanging out, shooting rodeos, shooting ranches, like living the dream.
And are you on the media side of it, or are you like?
That was just to make the illustrative components for these designs that I was doing for clothing, like clothing graphics.
So they're doing a clothing line?
Yeah.
A cowboy clothing line?
Yeah.
And it works perfectly because you are from a clothing company dynasty family.
No, I'm not like making the clothing. I'm making the graphics for it. So it's like so it's like hoodies, t-shirts, stuff like that.
That's what I mean, but you understand it from that angle, and you're also
I've also done it before. Like I've made my own
and you're
shirts and
you're an
stuff.
artist, and you're a graphic designer, and you're a skier, and you're a horse girl.
Yeah.
So it's like every single part of your life, there's like 5 different components of your life that have like coalesced into this perfect job.
Yeah, and the plan is to activate it via an art show in Jackson,
cool.
And I'm hopefully gonna do it in a few other places too, because I'm making this massive body of work that's like beyond anything I've ever done in the past, with like painting scale and just stuff like that.
Where
like,
do you
it's
find the
art.
time for all of these things?
Not right now. I was doing a lot in the fall and a lot last summer, but right now is like totally film focused.
Because so this summer you're gonna have to finish that project.
Which is totally fine.
and finish your film at the same time.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it, because like I was fully prepared to like launch this stuff last fall. So
it's like
now it's just bonus
fine-tuning.
time. Now it's bonus time, and like
just,
I can go back to Jackson. Like
so you're tweaking it and making it tight.
Yeah, and we can
sick.
like, if we want to make a video about it or like do editorial stuff about it and that sort of thing. Yeah, it's really cool. Like total dream job.
When's the launch? Do you know?
I don't know yet.
Let me know. I want to come.
Yeah, you should. That'd be so fun. So that's been kind of the dream, and I'm so honored to be doing it, and it's definitely I like Jackson a lot. It's fun hanging out there. Yeah.
So you're in Aspen currently, you said?
Yeah, based out of Aspen. I did some time in Salt Lake last year.
You said you were there for 2 days.
Oh, I was there for the season, and then
you were just joking around earlier.
I was paying for it, but I went back to Aspen in August because Salt Lake's just way too hot for me, and so I went back to Colorado for a while to just kind of kill time and help the folks out with some stuff. And then I was like, man, I've been paying for Salt Lake this whole time, and then I was back in Salt Lake for a 2-day window about a month ago and moved all of my shit out and back to Aspen. So now I'm officially back in Aspen.
Is so for skiing, Aspen or Little Cottonwood Canyon?
Aspen.
Yeah.
Utah's skiing really disappointed me.
Oh, there's
to be
some
honest.
fighting words.
But I really
shots fired.
I really enjoy Brighton, and
Yeah.
I really like skiing there, and that's like, they've been really generous to me and giving me a pass, and I feel bad because I haven't really been there this season much, but I do really like Brighton and have enjoyed my time there. But yeah, I definitely missed the Colorado skiing while I was there, for sure.
Do you miss the East Coast ski?
For sure. Absolutely. There's nothing I love more than sheer unadulterated ice.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, so I was telling you, the Ski the East guys, they're in Whistler right now.
Yeah.
Rogie from Mountain Gazette's here. Schmuck's gonna come up from the city, and I showed those guys around Whistler all day yesterday. I was gonna go up for a couple runs and then bail out. We skied all day, and I think I crushed those dudes. I hope I did. I was tired. I took them to all the zones. We were skiing steep stuff, and they're like, "Holy smokes, man, this is great!" They're like, "Whoa, this is wild. This is so big," and blah blah blah. Like, I haven't skied the East Coast, but I know what it's all about. Yeah. Like, I was rolling up. I'm like, Tuckerman's, how big is it? Like, and he's like from here to that thing. And I was like, oh, for real? He's like, yeah. Meanwhile, we're in this massive amphitheater bowl. But the thing I have to say about people who ski on the East Coast is the passion is unrivaled.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Like, and it boggles my mind because out west here we've got excellent conditions, excellent snow, terrain.
No, I firmly believe that feeder hills are the backbone of this industry, and I've always felt that way. And I think that, like, also just a huge shout out to Andy Parry for Tell a Friend Tour, because that is what skiing needs. And like, when we were filming in the Midwest in January, we got the chance to go to Trollhagen. And
that's in Wisconsin?
Yeah. Just a little rope tow resort.
With a little rail course and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
right?
they've got a really sick park actually.
What's her name? The Jib Girl chick, Danielle.
Yeah,
she goes there, lives near there, I think.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not super sure. I'm pretty bad about paying attention.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it just reminded me so much of Sundown and like East Coast skiing, and it just has this really it's hard to describe the spirit of a hill like that, but it's just so untouched by any sort of corporate energy or tourism energy that you get out west, that it's just like, it feels like old skiing to me, or what I perceive as old skiing, not that I had the chance to participate in it, but yeah, it just feels very authentic, and I think that we can all use a little bit of that.
I love it. I love that you have so many, you've been given the opportunity in your life for so many different perspectives on not only skiing, but like art and different aspects of art. It's really fascinating. It seems like you've been in the right place at the right time, but also have been accepting of being like, okay, I'm here. This is what I'm going to absorb.
Yeah.
So
I've definitely been very privileged and very lucky and very fortunate.
That's cool.
In a lot of different ways.
Would you ever do something like an all girls kind of tell a friend tour kind of thing?
I would love to see that happen.
Right? Get Taylor and some of the girls on your crew and
That'd
just do like a tour around the East or anywhere really.
Yeah. It'd be so fun. I mean, that would be a really fun way to go ski a bunch of different places. But I don't know. I'm not thinking about what I'm doing next in skiing because I have so much on my plate.
18 other projects on the go right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but that would be really sweet.
Right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what should people know about Laura Obermeyer?
Oh man.
Where can they find you?
That I can rip a harmonica.
Can you for real?
Yeah.
You rock the mouth organ?
Oh yeah, you bet.
Come on! Oh, I wish I had one here.
I might have one.
Are you serious?
I might. I don't think I do. I think it's in my ski pants.
Oh no.
Because I like to play it on the chairlift when I'm feeling.
Come on, for real?
Yeah. That's the fact that people can know about me.
I think Alexi Gabu does too. I think I saw an Instagram account, a post of him like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like hitting the mouth harp.
Yeah.
No way. All right, so if we can hook up again before you leave town, I'm gonna.
You want a soundbite of me playing cowboy music?
Oh, it's cowboy music too.
Oh, for sure.
Like campfire. Sure. Oh my god. Yes.
You bet.
Absolutely.
You bet.
I remember back earlier in the day when people would come over, I'd get them to play the guitar.
Oh god.
And I haven't done that in a long time. Only if they play guitar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you have. Oh,
I'd be pretty miserable at guitar. It's funny because I have such an intimate relationship with music, but I'm so not musically inclined with instruments. I struggle with it so much, but I'm trying to change that in the next few years. That's like my 5-year goal.
I told myself that in 2009, and I'm like,
into music.
It's just a timing thing. I think I'm gonna pay for if I have to pay for something or like a schedule something.
Yeah.
Like I'm just so busy. Like for me to pick up the guitar, unless I have a direct like line of steps, I don't really. I kind of just float and don't really achieve anything unless I have like a line of steps. Like there's that learning thing we were talking about again. I think we're gonna have a lot more to talk about as soon as this gets turned off.
Probably.
Where can people find you on socials?
They can find me at Laura Obermeyer on most things, or they can go to my website and find other things from there.
Yeah. Find some things or go somewhere else and find other things.
Find some audio and visual experiences.
And can you send me some photos of some of your work and anything, and we'll post them up on the LPP website.
You got it.
All right, cool.
Absolutely.
So yeah, go do that. Thanks for coming. Thanks for calling.
Thank you so much. This has been so fun.
Yeah. For sure. Dude, I got a new friend.
Cheers.
And like I said, I would have had I always like to meet people first or cross paths with them first, but you've been on my radar for a long time just because I found you fascinating as a person. So
yeah, no, I love the show.
Awesome. All right. Well, tune in next week. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
You've been listening to the Low Pressure Podcast, the podcast for skiers. This has been a Redmark Media production.